guys, today I brought you a super exciting topic. I've driven over 18,000 kilometers in an Audi Q7 55 TFSI-E plug-in hybrid model, and today I wanted to show you this Excel which I pulled down from the My Audi app. It shows me all the statistics you need when you want to calculate how much time you're spending in your car, how much it's consuming, what's the electricity cost, and what's the real average fuel consumption. So let's have a look at it together, right? From the application, you can check the average electricity consumption. It gives you kilowatt hour per 100 kilometer, right? And then it gives you the liter per 100 kilometer you consumed on each drive. So it logs me all the time I sat in the car, so I can track back all the activities I spent in the car. Now, you will need some side calculations, which I will show you a little bit later, and I will also show you what was my full driving time in 6.5 months of time, how many hours I spent in the car just as a normal average user, right? What was the total fuel consumption in petrol? What was the total kilometers I drove, which I already shared, over 18,000 kilometers. What was the average consumption according to the computer, the average real consumption, which I calculated based on the electricity I use through these drives, right? Because you need to add that on the top. So it's just one thing that the Audi computer shows you X liters, but at the end of the day, if you are driving the plug-in hybrid, you need to add the average weighted fuel consumption of your electricity, and that's what we are going to be doing right here, right now, and you will see what adds it up on the top, how much it costed me in the last 6 months, right? And then I will show you the electricity cost in euro and the electricity cost in fuel equivalent, and also my total fuel consumption, which really I brought down from the statistics. So how it worked, I shared the My Audi app data. I sent it to my email address, and it gives you a CSV file, and you just go into the Excel file, you click File, Open, and you just pick the CSV file, and it easily handles everything. And you know, I just started to make some side calculations, and now let me show you the results, right? So my full driving time in 6.5 months was 458 hours, guys. 458 hours. And if you calculate, let's calculate it together, right? 458 hours, right? In 6.5 months. So if you divide it by 6.5, then it gives you that it was 70 hours in 1 month. Now, if we calculate 7.5 working days, that means that I spent over 9 working days in the car per month. It may sound a bit too high, but it depends on, you know, what you're using the car for. But I now understand why people use chauffeurs and why they sit in Royce or even a Bentley, 5-seater Bentley in the back, and they are working, right? I love driving, but it sounds odd that a little bit over 6 months I spent 458 hours in the car. That's a lot, guys, right? So the next one is total fuel consumption. Also, just one note for you here is that you may want to consider how much time you spend in the car and whether you can use that time to build something else, to build the business further, to make new contracts, whatever, because this time is quite a lot. If you consider 9 working days per month, it's over 30% of the month I spent in the car. I'm just an average user, And so if we go back to our Excel, then we can see that I consumed a total of 1,465 liters of petrol, right? And if we calculate it, 1,465, and average fuel cost in euro terms, maybe it cost 1.4, not totally sure. So I spent over 2,000 euros on petrol, right? And if you divide it by 6, then my petrol was over 300 euros per month. That's not too little, right? Total kilometers driven, I shared it already. Average consumption according to the computer. Now, sounds good, right? Below 8 liters with the plug-in hybrid. Now, you may want to add electricity costs, right? So this was my real consumption. Let's have a look. 8.6. This is my real consumption when I added the electricity cost on the top. And I show you the electricity I used. I used 2,400 kilowatt hour of electricity, and this is the point where you can calculate it based on your retail electricity price, how much you would pay for this, right? I paid for this almost 200 euros. In fuel equivalent, it was 120 liters. And that's how I came to this number. 8.6 is the real consumption. Most of my electricity was used in the city. So if you calculate that, approximately I've made 1,000 or 2,000 kilometers in the city, or even more. I don't exactly know. You know, on average, you would consume a lot in the city. So that's the point where you can start comparing your car to a diesel or a petrol only and the plug-in hybrid. So I thought that these statistics would be interesting for you. Now, the other thing I'm considering right now is that my Audi Q7 has 72,000 kilometers in it right now. I could sell this car for approximately 52,000 euros, right now in my country. And so I could see some models with less kilometers for a less price in Germany. So I'm just thinking about selling this car, go back to Germany, get another full 1-year guarantee, the same model with 35,000 kilometers, because it's possible. It only depends on the dealer, it depends on the construction they used, whether it was a leasing, a company car, a personal car, private car. And so it depends on lots of factors, but Germany is huge. And so I could travel to any part of the country and just make the purchase. And so I would get another free 40,000 kilometers that way. Possibly you just need to be patient, you need to look for the market. But let's have a look what happens if I continued using this car. So right now, this car, the market value approximately, let's say 50,000 euros, right? In euro. Okay. New price was 87,000 euro. Now, today you need to know that this car, obviously bigger battery pack. If you go on Audi's website, this car will cost you almost 100,000 euros as a new price, right? And so depreciation so far was approximately 35 cents. Okay, and so kilometer right now is 72,000, and I would need to look up the used cars. So let's say 8 years old cars with 250,000 kilometers. And I need to tell you that so far I've driven over 3,500 kilometers on average, approximately, per month. And if I continued this habit, then I could reach the 250,000 kilometers, 8 years threshold within 4 years, right? So my car will be exactly 8 years old with 250,000 kilometers well maintained. So I will look up what's the cost for that car and we'll come back to you. Right, so I just looked up and the cars are selling for 30,000 euros with that specifics. Now, my depreciation over the next 3.5 years will be from this point approximately 40% in the next 4 years, right? You will be losing approximately 20,000 euros. Whereas if I sold the car right now for this amount, I would purchase a new one with less kilometers, same age, with different specifications. Now I would save the depreciation of this year and the next year, because in the next 4 years I would be suffering 40% depreciation. And so that's how you could avoid this gap. Now I'm thinking, because I love the car, so I'm not sure I want to do that, but hopefully it helps you, navigating through this market. I'm not the market expert. I'm just thinking out of my head with you right now. That's how you could, if you want to do that, you can monitor the Gebrauchtwagen market in Germany. You can make this in EU if you are in the US. I don't exactly know the market right there, but it's worth considering. Also, it's worth considering that how much time you are spending in your car, whether it's worth for you or not, how much the fuel consumption really is. I think the 8.6 is a brilliant number, guys. So normally these cars on average would consume approximately 12 liters or more. So we could say that I spared a lot. On the other hand, I own the V60 model, it consumes 6.3. I also have an A4 right now. It can consume 5.5 from diesel. So also you can consider the tax benefits if you're looking for this company car, because for plug-in hybrid you would get quite tax efficient. So lots of point. At the end of the day, enjoy your car. Hopefully it's helpful for you. After 18,000 kilometers, a small recap: how much petrol I used, how much I spent on petrol, how much I spent on average per month. I just made this calculation for myself quickly because I was interested. I could see it in the Audi app. I hope it helps you too. And this is the real fuel consumption of my plug-in hybrid. Now, obviously, if you're gonna go on motorways only, go for the diesel, because this car will be at least 10 point half for you, okay, in terms of fuel consumption. So take care and speak soon.